welcome to my most requested video ever. Jewelpet is debatably Sanrio's most iconic magical girl anime. Or at the very least, it is the longest running with 7 seasons, a movie, and 3 specials. Onegai My Melody could only dream. I've been obsessed with Jewelpet for a long time, but never had the chance to watch every season until now. So let's dive into the world of Jewelpet. But before we begin, please consider donating to my fundraiser for the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. I've kept this part of my life relatively private until now, but at the beginning of the year my mom was diagnosed with leukemia. This has been such a big part of my life, and it's the type of situation that I don't wish on anyone. However, I want to turn this experience into something positive, and that's where you come in. LLS is the largest nonprofit dedicated to creating a world without blood cancers. They've invested over $1.8 billion in research that has made procedures like the one my mom is having possible. They strive to educate patients and families while driving policy changes that will make this crucial care accessible to all who need it. You do not want to know how much these procedures cost. America needs to reevaluate its priorities. Anyway, LLS is a wonderful nonprofit, and if you can donate and share my fundraiser, I'd really appreciate it. I'll be donating some as well. This has been such a hard experience watching someone I love so dearly go through this sort of pain and really not be able to do much about it. Again, I would not wish this on anyone. Once again, please share this video with someone you think could donate, or maybe donate yourself. It would mean a lot to me. Now let's actually get into the Jewelpet review. Officially launched on January 15th, 2008, Jewelpet is the first collaboration between Sanrio, known for making characters like Hello Kitty, My Melody, and Agretzko, and Sega Toys, a subsidiary of the gaming icon Sega, the Sonic Company. Sega Toys is known for handling toys for franchises such as Bakugan, Dinosaur King, and wait, they made the iDog, really? Jewelpet was an immediate success, becoming a bestseller that summer. Of course, with this success, Sanrio and Sega Toys decided to think bigger.
Become superstars.
That's better.
And we were blessed with a ton of Jewelpet content and merchandise. I'm going to discuss each season in order, with occasional breaks for other content, okay? Okay. The first season of Jewelpet has an interesting production background. It's created by Sanrio and Sega Toys, which is already an iconic combo. The company that produced it, Studio Comet, has also worked on shows like Cute Earth High Defense Club Love. I never got past the first season of that one, but if you're looking for magical boys, that's your show. Peach Girl, and Onegai My Melody. So this isn't their first Sanrio show. The main writer for Jewelpet is Atsushi Meikawa, who worked on Fresh Precure, very underrated season, I love it, Bakugan Battle Brawlers, and Digimon Adventure 2. Director Nanako Shimazaki has worked in directing and storyboard positions on so many different anime like Pluto, which I loved, and Mukul Dreamy, yet another Sanrio property. Producer Kazuya Watanabe worked on Onegai My Melody. The screenplay was done by Takashi Yamada, who worked on iconic series like Ojamajo Doremi, Heartcatch Precure, and my favorite Ashita no Naja! There is so much talent on this show! Who knew? So the conflict of the Jewelpet anime is that during a cleaning day in Jewel Land, all of the pets in their jewel forms were dropped into the human world, with the exception of Ruby, a troublemaking rabbit who isn't exactly great at magic. She teams up with a human girl named Rinko, who is the basic kind of protagonist for this show. She's a little dumb but has a strong sense of justice, and she's a hopeless romantic. Sound familiar? She's joined by her best friend Minami, the athletic but also secret girly girl. Her partner is Garnet, a pink cat! Y'all know I love a pink cat. She's the exact diva you think she is. And Aoi, the super sweet but kind of chaotic rich girl. Her partner is Safi, who is an absolute sweetheart. These two are my favorite duo in the show, even with Aoi's ugly highlighter hair. Together, these 6 help solve local problems that can typically be solved with the jewel pets they find that day. How convenient. The gimmick with jewel pets beyond the jewels is that each one represents an admirable trait. Ruby is courage, Garnet is love, Safi is friendship. You get the idea. Want to express your true identity? There's a jewel pet for that. Have body image issues? There's a Jewelpet for that. Are your parents fighting? You bet there's a Jewelpet for that. Of course, there has to be a little more conflict than that. Insert Diana and the Phantom Herb Thieves. The group consists of 3 homeless thieves named Mint, Sage, who is the one to first discover Diana. I love that episode so much, and Algiso. For the first half of the series, they're the ones causing trouble for our lead girls, as they too want the Jewelpets. There's also this brief plotline where the Jewelpets are government secrets, and this agent guy has to hang around the girls, but I think the show realized that this is a stupid plotline because it's dropped after episode 11. Instead, the Jewelpets become marketing icons, just like they are in the real world. The first major change in the series happens around the halfway mark, when the Jewel Stick is introduced. In order to summon this new wand, the 2 Jewelpet books must be brought together. Only problem is Ruby has one book, and Diana has the other. But when Diana kidnaps some of Ruby's friends, she feels the need to give up the pink Jewel book. There's a big fight to see who will get ownership, and surprise! It's Rinko. Now she's the only person who can use the wand because it only responds to the first person who touched it. Weird, but alright. This upsets Diana, and she turns into a giant version of herself with laser eyes! Everyone has to escape, but instead of leaving Diana to destroy herself, Mint saves her and makes sure Rinko has the Jewel Stick for good. This marks a turning point for the Phantom Thieves, and they will no longer be the main villains of the show. There's a brief break in between where Rinko is learning how to use the Jewel Stick, the main 3 Jewelpets get their own mini Jewel Sticks, and yeah, we get it, buy the toys. I wish I could. Diana will continue to be evil, but her big brother Dian comes in to help. I don't love their dynamic. His magic is a lot stronger than Diana's, but he's a bit of a moron for most of the show. I wouldn't say I don't like him, but he's a cat, so I can't be mean. The show continues like normal, albeit with slightly different circumstances. The majority of Jewelpets have been found, but there are 8 more to get that were shipwrecked. It takes extra effort to get these pets, with Diana and her brother setting up games to either win a Jewelpet or take one from Rinko. There's one episode where Rinko loses a Jewelpet named King, and everyone, especially in this episode, is so mean to him. What do you mean his merch isn't selling? Quit calling him ugly! I think he is so cute. He's a Frenchie and he's pink. Like, how could I not love him? Oh my gosh! This is the only part of Jewelpet I don't like. I just think King is so cute and they're so mean to him. Be nice to King. Justice for King! He also has this little love story with Lapis, who is still evil but they used to be in love. It's really sweet. A few episodes later, we get the introduction of little baby Labra. The show doesn't do too much with this extremely powerful magic bear, but she's here and she's cute. Sanrio shows always feel the need to add baby characters, and I know why they do it, but I don't love it. The show starts getting more intense in episode 44, where the last 2 jewels are used by Dian and Diana. Either the group wins the pets or they lose Rinko. But the show wouldn't pull that, would they? Oh, what if I told you this happens twice? The first time, Rinko is put in a dungeon with Diana because she disrespected her brother. I wish she'd do it again. And the 2 make Valentine's chocolates. That probably didn't make any sense, but I appreciate the time spent developing Diana's character. She has good moments. The second time's a lot more insane. I need to backtrack a little. Jewelpet actually has a lot of romance. It's very surface level type relationships that aren't explored too much because the characters are children, but they're fine. Aoi has a crush on this guy at her favorite sushi place. Minami likes a boy she plays sports with, and Rinko has 2 love interests. Well, 3 if you count the government man, but I don't want to think about when the show briefly tried to set them up. That was weird for both parties. Anyway, Rinko has the boy next door named
Nanase
and a mysterious prince who is actually Dian in disguise. And literally everyone knows he's bad except her. Luring her into a marriage proposal. I'm not joking. Rinko loses herself and is under Dian's control. This gets weird because Diana is like, you don't have to have a wedding, bro. And he's like, womp womp. But he reveals he might actually like Rinko. Ew. Stealing the jewel stick would have been enough evil, sir. Of course, the wedding doesn't go exactly as planned, and Akira saves Rinko. The group goes to find the magic leaders, who have been so lazy and useless this entire time that I genuinely forgot to bring them up. They're in the entire show, I just don't remember them. They're in the entire show, but they let children and talking animals solve their problems when they're these magical beings who could fix everything. That's crazy! They're turned to stone, but hide away in the jewel stones worn by our leaders. Going to a cave, the group finds an old painting on the wall, depicting a rabbit and a girl summoning the legendary pet Opal. Obviously this is Ruby and Rinko, but in order to fulfill the prophecy, Ruby needs to raise her magical rank to Super Crystal, a rank only held by Labra. I'm not kidding when I say that Baby Bear is freakishly overpowered. So while the rest of the group goes to find Dian, Ruby stays behind to be trained by Labra. And the constant tone shifts whenever it switches from Rinko to Ruby is so funny. In the human world, people are turning into stone, crying out for help, while in Jewel Land, Ruby is chasing a piece of pie in a suit of armor. Jewelpet never allows itself to be too serious, and your willingness to go along with the absurdity will determine whether you like the show or not. Not a serious bone in this show's body. Anyway, Rinko does get the jewel stick back thanks to Akira, but because of his recklessness, he's turned to stone. Rinko has been very forgiving up to this point, but this absolutely breaks her, and her harsh words cause Dian to snap the way Diana did earlier in the show. He turns giant. Rinko's magic doesn't work, and Ruby has yet to return from her training. What will she do? Get the help of all the Jewelpets and Phantom Herb Thieves, of course. In order to win, they have to kill Dian. These subtitles aren't the most accurate sometimes, but that's a meta line. It's giving Sailor Moon Cosmos. Even though the action itself isn't great, I love the heart in this battle. Everything Rinko and her friends have been through has led to this. They have an army of Jewelpets ready to help, even if they only serve as a distraction. Ruby finally shows up towards the end of episode 51, and together they summon Opal the Alicorn! So cute! Her magic reveals that little Dian is trapped inside this rage-filled version of himself, and with the power of friendship, the Jewelpets and Rinko save Dian. Jewelpet has an almost perfect ending. Ruby's magic gets reset for some reason, but everything else is great. On its own, Jewelpet is a fun little watch if you want a 2000s version of Catch Teeny Ping, or maybe a girlier version of Pokemon. Truthfully, this season gives me major Digimon vibes, but if the script was written in glitter gel pen. That's a compliment, that's my vibe. I personally enjoyed this show very much. It has likable characters, a decent amount of funny jokes, and a world that fascinates me. Jewel Land seems like such a cool place. I kinda wish the show spent more time in Jewel Land. Evidently I'm not the only one, because the second season does just that.
Let it go, let it go, let it go. Happy Twinkle.
We're calling it Jewelpet Twinkle, okay? Not the other name. We don't use that name, it's Twinkle, okay? Jewelpet Twinkle is a reset of the world we came to know in the first season, and is directed by Takashi Yamamoto, who is no stranger to the magical girl genre with his work on Saint Tail, Nanatsu Hero Drops, and lots of upcoming Jewelpet entries. In Jewelpet Twinkle, the new leader, Julina, purposefully sends the Jewelpets out into the human world to find magic partners called Rares. These are humans who have the same heart as their Jewelpet partner, and together they strengthen their magical abilities. We also have the introduction of the Jewel Pod, which Ruby uses to get to the human world by herself after hastily pressing the screen. I'm not thrilled with her character being reset. This applies to all the Jewelpets. I wish they had kept their knowledge from the first season and used that growth in this next season, but whatever. Ruby dumb. Her dumbness leads her to meet Akari Sakura, a timid girl living in the shadow of her successful older sister. All she wants is to make friends, have her crush notice her, and to have confidence in herself. Ruby uses magic in an attempt to make Akari feel better after such an awful day, and explains to her the Jewelpet lore.
ジェードランドは魔法の国だよ。みんな魔法や錬金術が使えるの。今の私よりずっとすごい魔法だよ。とにかく何でもできるの。はーい、魔法か。私も魔法が使えたらいいのにな。
Giving her a matching flower, Ruby and Akari share a hug. Our little bunny has found her rare. Being less tech-savvy than a grandma with the latest iPhone, instead of pulling up the magic spell the two are supposed to chant, she transports them to Jewelland. As they fall, really slowly.
Hey, Buzz! You're flying! This isn't flying, this is falling with style.
Ruby gives Akari courage and she transforms. She flies around Jewelland in a super cute outfit. And finally, they arrive at the magic school. It's here where we get to meet a colorful cast of characters, including Miria, the wannabe idol, Sarah, the super genius, Leon, the humble prince type, Nicola, the literal baby, how old is he? And lots of Jewelpets. These main 5, as well as other students who we meet later, are studying magic and collecting jewel stones in the hopes of competing in the Jewel Star Grand Prix, where the winner gets to have any wish they want granted. That's an insanely cool opportunity. So you'd think everyone would kinda hate each other, but no. Everyone becomes friends. The closest being the girly trio of Akari, Miria, and Sarah. These 3 are very compelling characters, as the show isn't afraid to show us that their lives aren't too great sometimes. Akari lives in the shadow of her famous older sister, and her parents stay too busy to pay her much attention. She's timid, bad at standing up for herself, and has a hopeless crush on cool boy Yuma. Akari's family dynamic fascinates me so much, and feels a little too relatable. I have a super genius for a brother, so kinda get it. Speaking of geniuses, Sarah is incredibly smart, but not social. At all. Akari and Miria bring her out of her shell as the series progresses. But we learn that Sarah has been living by herself in a laboratory since the age of 6, and she hasn't seen her parents once since she moved in? Are you kidding me? What kind of parents do that? One of the best Miria stories comes from episode 14, where she's excited about a singing audition in Los Angeles, the same one that made her mother famous. However, it seems that Miria's mother isn't coming to support her, and as we know from episode 11, Miria's father hasn't been in the picture for 5 years. Can someone please be a good parent? I feel like every anime and manga I talk about on this channel has like the worst parents. Feeling discouraged, Miria goes back to Jewelland and attempts to change the past so her mother is never famous, so she can always be by Miria's side. Despite her longing for her mother's attention, she realizes that changing the past isn't the right thing to do, and fixes what's been ruined with magic.
これはドレスは元通り直しました。これは私たちからのお詫びの印。あなたたちこれを着て早くオーディションに行って。でもミリアちゃんは決して一人ぼっちなんて思わないよ。
Hey, who left this bowl of onions here?
And with that, Miria is ready to go to her own audition. And her mom comes and gives her the dress she auditioned in!
Hey!
Okay, so my audio cut out here, but what I say before this next part is that Jewelpet Twinkle does a great job at making you care about the characters individually. They're all so well written and have such unique conflicts. I love them. Okay, back to me. It's so enjoyable to watch the growing friendships as they all learn magic together. But episode 23 is where attention shifts to a new character named Alma, who looks like Yuma. Is Akari's crush the bad guy? No. Get this. It's his evil twin! Stupid twist aside, Alma, who is actually a girl because girls are the best at magic in this universe, has a really good motivation. Her and Yuma's mother is in an eternal sleep. after sealing the forbidden spellbook known as the Batist. Alma wants to unseal the Batist and find a spell to wake up her mother, but in doing so puts Jewelland in danger and almost dies. We'll get back to her, but her story is one of my favorites, and Jewelpet Twinkle drops it until the end of the show. I don't love that choice, but the way she returns is iconic. So the show continues with more magical adventures, personal plot lines, and jewelstone collecting, which leads us to an incredibly long competition that's not as interesting as the rest of the show, at least until the very end. In my opinion, it's not bad, but Jewelpet Twinkle is definitely a story that has such a good journey that the destination is fun, but not as incredible as the episodes before. Again, that is until the very end. Easily the best parts are Akari and Miria's battle, and anything with Alma, who has returned and is fully evil now. She absorbed the power of the Batist and is going to steal magic from everyone, so it's up to Ruby and Akari to save her and win the title of Jewel Star. Akari's kindness allows Alma to have a happy ending and influences her friends and herself for the better. But Jewelpet Twinkle doesn't have a totally happy ending. After graduation, our leads have to say goodbye to magic and their jewel pets. Ruby specifically will be away for a long time, but Akari uses her wishes to make sure that they'll all see each other again, and that we, the viewers, can have the chance to be just as magical as she is. I don't know if it's because I'm really attached to the characters, or if the stress of my real life is projecting onto this show, but episode 52 made me cry. I love the maturity of this ending and the hopefulness it leaves the viewer with. Life goes on, dreams come true, and you won't always have the same people beside you. But that doesn't mean you can't meet again. I think that is such a beautiful message. Jewelpet Twinkle is a really special show, and I'm not sure how any of the next seasons can top it. But before I can talk about the next season, I have to talk about the OVA that came out 3 years after this show premiered. Jewelpet Twinkle, A Rainbow of Smiles, Doki Doki, flashes forward to the group in junior high. Akari is making manga, Yuma is playing basketball, Miria is an idol, Sarah is working in research, and Alma is doing her best to find her place in the rare world. It's a sweet epilogue to an amazing anime. My only complaint is that Akari and Ruby don't see each other again. That's the whole reason I wanted to watch this! Hi, welcome to the item segment. As you can tell, I'm a little bit Sapphy themed. I planned my whole look around Sapphire after I found this Sanrio Puroland headband. And I love her. I love her. Look how cute she is. So yeah, this headband is from Sanrio Puroland. I got it secondhand, of course, because I've never been. And I was lucky enough to find a Sapphy plush as well. I think she is super cute. I love her little music note. Music means a lot to me, so I had to have her. Even has a little gem. And I love her blue and pink color scheme. I just think she is the cutest. But the main star of this item segment is the DS game. Jewelpet Let's Play Together in the Magic Room is the third Jewelpet DS game, but unlike the other two, it isn't a rhythm game, but more of a pet care simulator. In the game, you take care of Sapphy, Labra, Ruby, Garnet, Peridot, Milky, Luna, and Sango. You can play mini-games. My favorite is the star-catching one. Dress them up, give them treats, do little magic dances, and answer questions. As you level the jewel pets up, you unlock non-playable characters that randomly hang around non-playable areas or manage shops. Magic Room was released during Jewelpet Twinkle's airing, and while this game is definitely based on that world, you can enjoy the game without seeing the anime. I love how casual this game is. It's very calming and cute. Plus, the ending is a real treat. Although it's only available in Japanese, I think this game is worth having if you love Sanrio or you just love cute pet games. The developer NTO also worked on games like the Pet series, so if you like those, you'll like Magic Room. I almost forgot. My Jewelpet bag! I was using this, so I totally forgot to bring it on camera. There is a tiny drawstring bag that has Sapphy, Ruby, Diana, King. I love King. The anime hates on him so bad, and I love him. And Garnet. And on the back, it's just Ruby and Diana. Very cute. Then we have this medium-sized bag that's supposed to be like a shoe holder, but I use it for stationery. It's like a smaller version of the big bag design. So you have this little cutie right here who I cannot remember the name of, Labra, Ruby, Garnet, and Sapphy with this cute little card design. Same thing on the back, but different. This says, "Do you like it?" I do like it, thank you. And lastly, the big bag. We love the big bag. This is probably my favorite bag that I own for like crafting. I love it so much. And that's all of my collection. I hope you enjoyed this brief little break from the anime reviews. Let's jump back in. Holy wow, what a downgrade. Jewelpet Sunshine is the third installment in the Jewelpet franchise, and while the first season is a mostly silly show with a good plot, and the second season has a fantastic plot, character drama, and a handful of silly moments, Sunshine kicks the craziness up to 11, and for a show that's supposed to be funny, it usually isn't. That being said, I like the setup for the show. Jewelpet Sunshine stars a class of both humans and Jewelpets that are seen as the school rejects. Each episode follows their wacky misadventures at Sunshine Academy that involve magic, friendship, romance, and lots of absurd comedy. My favorite thing the show does is use English music for comedy gags. The first time Sunshine used debatably the most iconic Aerosmith song, I had to rewind because I just could not believe what I was hearing. What is my parents' music doing in this show? I don't wanna close my eyes. I don't wanna fall asleep cause I miss you, babe. All of the Jewelpets are as you remember them in the previous seasons, but without any of the charm. The humans are just as bland, and while the dynamic between Ruby and Cannon can be really fun, overall I did not enjoy the season. It was so hard not to compare it to the previous seasons, which I enjoyed a lot more. I respect that the show wanted to go full comedy, even taking the two-segment format that a lot of Western cartoons do, but it was too silly for my liking. I prefer balance. Hopefully the next season is better. Okay, now this is more my speed. Jewelpet Kiradeko still stars the Jewelpets we've come to know and love, but this time they live in a tiny little town creatively called Jeweltown. Ruby is a little shop owner who loves to decorate everything. She's like me with stickers. As she's hanging out with Ruby and Sapphy, Labra and Angela, who are now the town police, come over and tell Garnet her phone is too shiny by putting an extra shiny sticker on it? What? Soon it's time for human TV on the moon. But the broadcast looks a little weird. Soon Monday arrives, and the Jewelpets have to go to their one day of school a week. Sapphire is the teacher and tells the other Jewelpets the story of their origin. This inspires Ruby and Garnet to go search for the lost pieces of the mirror ball. Where are my Swifties? Also, why did this series make Opal a bitch? She was so chill in the other seasons. Now she's terrible from episode 1. What did they do to her? Why did they give her such a downgrade? Back to the episode, a shooting star appears and humans crash into Jewelland. These are the Kiradeko 5, a surprisingly male-filled cast for a girly show. Their suits vanish and they become the 2012 equivalent of Yassified. Red explains their ridiculous superhero origin story, and the Jewelpets find it hard to believe. So when Red strikes Labra, the group is arrested, except for Pink, who is saved by Ruby. The other 4 members are interrogated by the Jewelpets, my favorite scene being with Garnet and Blue Knight.
牢屋に戻ったらそのキラキラした瞳見れなくなっちゃうのか辛いよ出してくれない
This genuinely made me laugh so much. The scene where Pink is trying to bail her friends out of jail is also hilarious. Labra is such a menace. What did they do to the baby? Garnet sets Blue Knight free despite her previous disgust, but this is under one condition. Each human character must be the helper of the Jewelpet that bailed them out of jail. With 2 members of Kiradeko 5 out, The other three need to find a way to escape, and this entire jail bus scene is so funny. Eventually, all 5 are free of any persecution in Jewel Land, but a new threat has arrived: Cole. Cole is a minion of the Dark General, this show's big bad antagonist. He, Opal, and Opal's little fanboy do their best to steal the Deco Stones our leads are collecting. Cole is not very good at his job, often looking like a total idiot, although he might have a decent career in drag.
Don't do it. You can't do it, Vladimir. You do it, it's gonna be a bad day.
On a scale of craziness, I'd say this one is just a little more goofy than Season 1, but not nearly as absurd as Season 3. The episodes consist of magical conflicts ranging from Pink having an Otome-type dream where she's being manipulated by Cole in disguise, to the Jewelpet somehow getting stuck on a deserted island and having to not go insane from hunger. The Jewelpets are so mean now! Jewelpet Kiradeko takes a brief break from the jewel collecting conflict to do a little movie tie-in with the Sweets Dance movie. I'm honestly surprised Jewelpet didn't have a movie sooner. We're already 4 seasons in. Rival series like Precure already had tons of movies by this point. Sweets Dance Princess opens with My Melody and Ruby talking about the movie. My Melody wants a movie, which she has. This was a double feature with Onagai My Melody. But Ruby quickly changes the subject and the two go into the theater. Enter Kuromi and Baku, who are causing their usual trouble. I will say the My Melody section is very charming, but I'm here to talk about Jewelpet, so I'm going to skip ahead. Like for an Onagai My Melody video. Ruby is picking raspberries when, after a talk with King, there's my boy! She realizes that she forgot about her dance lesson. Rushing over to the studio, we see that her friends are already there and... Wait, that's the girl from Season 3. Wait, we get cameos from all the past leads? That is so cute! Anyway, Ruby gets to class and being the main character she is, becomes the center of the dance. Now that's decided, the group heads to the neighboring country, Sweetsland. This place is absolutely precious. The Sweets Pets designs are also super cute. Princess Mana, however, looks like she belongs in an upcoming season rather than the one we're in now. As both the Jewelpets and Sweets Pets are about to present their gifts, the king declares that Princess Mana is to be wed. At 7. Listen to her voice!
お父様、一言でまとめると嫌です。結婚は愛し合う者同士がするものです。なのに、お互いの気持ちに関係なく婚約させられるくらいなら、私は王女を辞めてお城を出ます。
That is a baby child! Her voice actress Mana Ashida was a child during this movie and is a pretty famous performer in Japan. Mana makes the decision not to talk about the subject any further, and the pets present their presents. Why did I write it like that? The Sweets Pets make a humongous cake. Meanwhile, the Duke gets word of Mana's refusal to marry and acts like a total brat. Why do these children need to get married? They're not mature enough. The entire conflict of this movie is just immaturity. Okay. The whole marriage thing is technically the main conflict, but the movie is a bunch of cutesy nothing. There's extended baking, traveling, and dancing scenes, but there isn't much story-wise until the last 20 minutes, where the castle is falling apart and Paku turns into a monster. Sending a monster to destroy the home of someone who rejected you is a choice. The film is a decent enough time waster, but it could have been better. I see why it didn't do well in theaters. Back to Kiradeko, the show continues with episodic adventures like the group going to a fish kingdom where the citizens are offing themselves and dancing to Thriller. What? We're entering sunshine levels of absurdity, and I'm not sure if I love it or hate it. The show continues with plots involving holidays and Yu-Gi-Oh! But we finally reach the finale. The final few episodes are a treat. We get more insight into Cole's origin and his inevitable abandonment by the Dark General. It's the Deco 5 and their Jewelpets that end up showing Cole any compassion, which leads to his redemption, and an epic final battle that results in our favorite Power Ranger wannabes return to Earth. The journey to get to this conclusion is so much fun. I really love episode 50, where Pink is in her high school fantasy where everyone has wonky proportions, but she has to bring herself to remember Ruby. It's so good. Genuinely one of my favorite Kiradeko episodes. I had fun with Jewelpet Kiradeko, especially the beginning and ending episodes. The middle of the series is fine too, but it has the sunshine problem of being a little too goofy for me personally. That being said, overall I think Jewelpet Kiradeko is a fun watch. It makes me excited for what the rest of the franchise will do.
ゆっくり目を閉じてお祈りすると自分だけのジュエルペットで魔法のゲームキラキカリ自分だけの魔法も作れちゃうキラキカリキラキカリキラキカリみんなで楽しくハーモニーでは私そろそろ魔法の世界に帰ります
歩いて帰るんだ。
ジュエルペット DS MTO
Open a Jewelpet
With our heart!
Only the heart has the magic touch. Open the Jewelpet to love so much. Diana, Sapphi, and Ruby too. Magical Jewelpets to be loved by you. Jewelpets come from a magical land. Put the power of magic in your head. Only the heart has the magic touch. So many Jewelpets to love so much.
Okay, so I am wearing a Hello Kitty shirt. I don't think it shows on camera, but I am. Before we get back to the anime, I have to talk about the live shows that are at Sanrio Puroland, or were. For those who don't know, Sanrio Puroland is a theme park in Japan themed around Sanrio characters. And of course there was a lot of Jewelpet hype when the series was at its peak. This Jewelpet shop is what the inside of my brain looks like. The biggest live event that Jewelpet had was called Jewelpet's Thrilling Magical March, and I was able to find the entire show on YouTube. The show begins with a purple magical girl singing and Hello Kitty! They sing about how fun it is to study magic, and then Ruby, Garnet, and Sapphi join the musical number. It's really cute, and I'm impressed with how well the Jewelpets move because their costumes have a lot less flexibility than Kitty's. After that song, Purple Girly hypes up the children, and the villains are introduced. There's a stuck-up girl who always needs a chair and her two minions. I think she's a princess because I keep hearing Ohime-sama, which means princess. The conflict begins when the princess steals the teacher's magic book and freezes everyone, except for the Jewelpets. So now they and the children in the crowd have to help the princess fix her magical mess. All I can think about when watching this show is how fun of a job that would be. Season 5 is titled Jewelpet Happiness, and I am so excited for this one because the character designs look so bouncy. I don't know how else to describe it, but I love it. Once again, the Jewelpets are told to collect gems by highlighter hair lady Julina. That is 2 for 1 video. Also, I don't know why they keep redesigning her. Crazy confusing. Anyway, our lucky little rabbit Ruby is instructed by the queen to open a cafe and make friends because that's the only way to collect jewels, I guess. Standard mission for this franchise. Our humans for this season are the optimistic Chiari, the tomboyish Ruruka, and the proper lady Nene. Nene? Good luck with that one. These 3 meet the Jewelpets as they're in the process of fixing what will become their on-campus cafe. Episodes are very basic and typically focus on interpersonal problems between Jewelpets and humans at this combined academy. To spice things up, a rich girl antagonist named Marie is added to the mix. Her longing for her own magic gem is her downfall. Despite being in a magical world, Jewelpet Happiness stays relatively grounded. Most episodes focus on the Jewelpets solving friendship conflicts, running the cafe, and Chiari's crush on pretty boy number 75. I love the lighthearted vibes. But the show also has somewhat of a looming threat called the Red Moon. The Red Moon is an evil mutation of Jewel Land's moon and randomly brainwashes Jewelpets in certain episodes, making them angry or sad. The Jewelpets not only collect jewels for a cafe upgrade halfway through the series, but to stop the Red Moon from being unhappy. As much as I love the silly goofy vibes of this show, I feel like the Red Moon should have been a bigger threat. Spoilers, Ruby is the reason the Red Moon exists. It spreads unhappiness because Ruby drew an unflattering face on it. This makes perfect sense in the context of the Jewelpet world, but why wasn't this more relevant? This show is called Jewelpet Happiness, and the antagonist that spreads unhappiness is hardly relevant in the show. That's crazy! That being said, I really loved Jewelpet Happiness. Many Jewelpets get fun appearances, my favorite being Dian, who is basically Sporticus from LazyTown, Cole being unable to keep a job, real, and King! He's popular in this series! Based! The finale of the series is super fun. Everyone becomes possessed by the Red Moon's power, and our girlies have to stop the madness. It's so fun and easily the best part of the show. Chiari is stronger than I am because at her age, I would have absolutely folded for any guy who resembles Shadow the Hedgehog. I know I'm not the only one, you cannot shame me for this. Even with the small problems I have with Jewelpet Happiness, I hated to see it end. I thoroughly enjoyed this season and I hope the upcoming entries are just as fun. Something really cool about this show is that it actually has 2 openings instead of the usual 1, and both are bangers. This season has my favorite soundtrack so far. I have to stand Fairies. I need you all to know that it took me an embarrassing amount of time to recognize that Ruby and Milfaroon have the same voice actress. I'm impressed. Talent. This is debatably the most popular season along with Twinkle. Lady Jewelpet is a unique entry in the franchise. It begins with our lead, Momona, feeling conflicted at her cousin's wedding. The two are close and she wants to know that his bride is worthy of him. But the moment she sees her, Momona declares that Lady Diana is the most beautiful bride. However, the moment the two begin to bond, Momona is transported to an icy world. Lady Jewel has summoned all of the ladies in training and gives them magic pens? Okay. Of course, petite Lady Momona is paired up with Ruby, who shows her the castle and tells her all about the competition to become a Lady Jewel, although Momona announces her unhappiness with missing her cousin's wedding. With a cute transformation, Momona and Ruby meet Lady Lecter and some of the other girls who are competing to be the next Lady Jewel. You'd think the show would have a super predictable ending, but you are wrong. I cannot wait to discuss the final part of Lady Jewelpet. It is insane. Of course, we need some romance. So Cayenne is introduced, and these two don't exactly get along. At first, their dynamic is very playful. Momona is ready to go home, but she receives a message from Lady Diana, and it gives her the courage to continue. Things seem bleak, so Ruby suggests that the two dance. Sure, okay. However, Momona trips and kisses her prince.
Hey, yo!
Girly, it's episode 1, slow down! Momona ends up passing her first test. But Lady Lillian is not thrilled with Momona's developing relationship with Prince Cayenne. But girly, it's so obvious he's into her. Leave it be. I already do not like Lillian, and who is this little Ruby reject? She looks like someone's OC on DeviantArt. If we didn't already have Lady Diana, I'd say Diana would be the perfect choice for this role. Lapis is another great pick. What about the bee? She would have been perfect! Momona's lady lessons consist of different princess-like activities, like learning different forms of etiquette, writing love letters, and being kind to others. She learns these skills while getting closer to the other petite ladies, and having a blossoming romance with her prince. Lillian doesn't stand a chance. The show stays very lighthearted until Cayenne has to leave. Then we're introduced to Miura. Oh my god, between him and Momona, I am struggling. And his introduction kickstarts a lot of drama. Major spoilers beyond this point because, wow, this show gets crazy. Miura briefly shows interest in Momona until it's revealed that Ruby didn't choose our lead girl. which is a whole misunderstanding in itself, but it also disqualifies Momona from being Lady X, the person Miura is trying to find. Lillian is more likely to be the one Miura is searching for, and the two end up having feelings for each other. But Lillian is not a person! She is a doll brought to life by Lua and Joker, who we will get back to. Lillian was not a living being until the beginning of the show, so her past connection with Cayenne is totally fabricated. Both of them were convinced with Joker's magic that they are siblings. Needless to say, they will not be a couple, thank God. Throughout these discoveries, Lillian and Momona get close, to Lua's dismay. Lillian becomes her own person and her development is so good. I went from hating this girlie to absolutely adoring her. Momona and Lillian also have some moments that could be shippable, but the show sticks to them being friends because they have princes already. I'm fine with that, but I would love to know if anyone ships these two. So yeah, here is our main square. But there are other great characters like Karen, Mizuki, Elena, Romeo, Levin, Sora, Safi, Garnet, and Rosa are just a few of many highlights. Momona, Lillian, and Miura definitely get the most spotlight, but none of the human cast feels forgotten about. However, the Jewelpets do take a back seat compared to previous seasons. The show is so focused on the royal drama, which I absolutely love, not complaining, that characters like Safi and Garnet don't have a lot of memorable moments. Labra has one spotlight episode. Labra! The Jewelpet that at one point was second only to Ruby. Demoted! It's a little disappointing, but I love the plot so much that I don't mind. Slowly discovering Lady Diana's connection to Lua and Lillian, the reveal of Joker's identity, Momona and Cayenne finding each other after sacrificing their memories to save Jewel Land. They have the I will find you over and over again. I don't care how, where, or when you're mine dynamic, and that might be my favorite trope. Momona and Cayenne are soulmates and I adore them. I adore Ruby as a mentor to Momona. I adore Lua and Lillian's growth. There is so much to love about Lady Jewelpet, and out of all the seasons, this is the one I recommend the most. I love, love, love it! Okay, we've made it to the final season of Jewelpet. Wow. Thank you for staying so long. So, Jewelpet Magical Change is kind of a return to the magical girl genre. Although I would consider Lady Jewelpet to also be a magical girl show. Look at those transformations. But Magical Change really plays into the magical vibes. The plot is that the Jewel Castle has fallen into the human world, and people just ignore it. Needing magic-believing hearts for the castle's safe return, the Jewelpets go to the human world to make people believe in magic again. How do they do this? By transforming into humans themselves! I think they could have been a lot more creative with the designs, but getting to see these characters that have been around for so long, like Ruby and Labra, become human, it's really cool. That being said, you might be noticing that the main cast is looking a little different. Labra has come back into the spotlight, while Lua, Larimar, and Luna have replaced the longtime leads Garnet and Safi. I'm guessing the team behind Magical Change wanted to do something different, or maybe they thought Garnet and Safi just weren't that popular anymore? But then I discovered a little bit of controversy surrounding the show. So Japan typically treats their voice actors with a lot of respect. Recasts don't tend to happen unless someone has chosen to retire or has passed away. But there are some exceptions to this norm. Magical Change is one of those exceptions. Garnet and Safi did keep their original voices, although the actresses made their disappointment of no longer being series regulars known. But Luna, who has been in the franchise since season 1, was replaced by Misono. Don't know who Misono is? I didn't either. But she's a singer-songwriter with a super cool style and a former TV personality. She hasn't released any music since 2018, but if you like stylish J-pop, definitely check her out. That being said, Luna is her only voice acting role as of making this video, and after learning she got the part, she excitedly boasted about it online, saying she got Luna's role through a fair audition and was happy to be a part of the cast. even though she had planned on retiring from television projects. Rumi Shishido did express her initial shock about the recast, but didn't want to be in any drama. Misono later released an apology saying she got the part thanks to the staff of the show, not because of her own talent. This uproar from fans might be the reason this season is shorter than the others, only having 39 episodes. Anyway, I don't really care for this casting change because honestly, the cast now compared to what came before just isn't as memorable. The Jewelpets are either rabbits, white, and 4 out of the 5 have names that start with L. Like, really? Out of the entire catalog, that's what you go with? At least the human characters are memorable. Irie is the daughter of a detective who has the magical necklace that allows Jewelpets to change into a human form. She loves magic, she's caring, and she has such a fun dynamic with Ruby. Ruby slept for 7 years and knocked a child out? Then they almost get arrested? Crazy, I love these two. Irie's older brother, Sakutaru, is a total nerd, constantly boasting that science is better than magic, and showing off his quirky inventions. You know he's a little silly goofy because he has those quirky glasses! Laura is the last human of any importance, and she's a fancy rich girl from France. By night, she and Lua are Saint Tail-esque vigilantes, and by day she longs to steal Irie's brother. Not even in a romantic way, she just wants him as a brother.
Maybe there's a contest for lonely children after this. It's only children, DW. A lonely child is what you're gonna be when I sell you.
These 3 and the main Jewelpets of the show are usually involved in magical misadventures that lead to more people believing in magic. Plus, we get to see a lot of the Jewelpets' human designs. Why is King a manly man? Honestly, the plot really doesn't matter too much. There's zero sense of urgency to get the Jewel Castle back, but that's fine. Magical Change delivers on the promise of magic and change, so I'm happy with that. I also appreciate the callbacks to previous seasons and other Sanrio properties. Magical Change easily has the most references, which makes sense as it is the final big season. However, there's an episode where Ruby talks to all the past Rubies, who are all still with their partners from each season, implying that Jewelpet is a multiverse. The ending, unfortunately, is very rushed, but Magical Change still delivers on a fun time. It carries a surprising amount of emotional weight. Irie and Ruby's dynamic is the highlight of the show, so seeing them have to say goodbye for what we think is forever, only to be met with this scene?
間に合わないラブ。アイリー。これって何事です？すみません、遅くなりました。コマンタレブーですわ。アイリー、来てくれたんだね。ショーラも。
Absolutely lovely. I am sad that this is the last season, but that doesn't mean we're done with Jewelpet quite yet. The first ONA is called Jewelpet Attack Chance, and has an art style that looks more like the manga than any of the previous animated content. Makes sense since this is a cheaper production. There's very little movement and the plot is just as simplistic. Labra wants another Jewelpet TV anime, so she brings in a human girl named Ruri to help with this endeavor. The only other Jewelpet besides Labra and Ruby to have a speaking role is my girl Safi. But with only 3 episodes that are less than 5 minutes, yeah, I see why there are so few characters. Ruby is fine with no one caring about Jewelpet, but the others, especially Labra, want a comeback. Also, Rilu Fairylu reference? Let me know if I should cover that one. I need to see if the episodes are online somewhere. Anyway, Attack Chance is really cute, but such an obvious advertisement for Jewelpet products. I don't mind this sort of promotion, but this could have been a way better attempt at getting people interested in a new season of the anime. Jewelpet Attack Travel is the last animated Jewelpet project, and it is interesting. It seems like we're back in the Sunshine universe as Dolphin Sensei is back. The Jewelpets are going on a school trip. Well, only Ruby, Labra, and Safi are here, so maybe just them? The gang is going to China, and Ruby is so excited that she uses magic to summon a bus. Ruby is excited, but the other 2 are not having it. Dolphin Sensei is left behind and the 3 Jewelpets head to China. Or so they thought. Ruby's magic is sending them to the wrong place. They can't stop the tour, so they have fun in a magically warped version of China. Honestly, the special loses me after this point. The Jewelpets get served an elf, they're dressed up as pandas and have to perform. Also, what is that design? During this part, Roald makes an appearance, which is appreciated. Garnet also has a cool moment, but the special is not good. Like, it's alright, but to end Jewelpet on this nonsense is wild. The production of Attack Travel seemed to be somewhat messy due to the global pandemic, being announced for a 2020 release but not actually dropping until 2022. Sadly, that is the last Jewelpet project, but maybe we'll get something for another anniversary? Somewhere? Sometime? Some way? Jewelpet was such a big hit for Sanrio. I'd be surprised if they didn't try to bring it back again. There's a lot of material to work with. I'm actually super interested in this lost game that has like no information about it online. I bet this was so fun! Sanrio has moved on to other projects like Show by Rock, Rilu Rilu Fairyloo, Mukul Dreamy, Agretzko, and whatever million things Hello Kitty and friends are up to, that I don't blame them for giving Jewelpet a rest for a while. But it's been enough time since Magical changed that I think Jewelpet can enter its nostalgic era. The 2000s/early 2010s nostalgia wave is super profitable, and Jewelpet is such a staple of those eras. And it has some fantastic anime. Before this video ends, I have to give you my final ranking. I'm going to rank the series and specials separately. For the specials, number 5 is Jewelpet Attack Travel. Number 4 is the Jewelpet Twinkle OVA. I liked her, but she did not do enough. Number 3 is Jewelpet Attack Chance. Doesn't do too much either, but I really liked the art style. I thought it was cute. Number 2 is the Jewelpet movie. And number 1 is the one live show that I watched in this video. I love that sort of thing. Now for the main series, number 7 is Jewelpet Sunshine. No surprise there. Number 6 is Jewelpet Magical Change. Number 5 is Jewelpet Kiradeko. I really did love this one. Number 4 is the original Jewelpet. Number 3 is Jewelpet Happiness. It did indeed make me really happy to watch. Number 2, might be controversial, Jewelpet Twinkle. And number 1, my absolute favorite, Lady Jewelpet. For the princess girlies out there, you will love this one. You can debate amongst yourselves in the comments whether you think my placings are correct. I based them on how much I enjoyed them and overall production quality. If you made it to the end of the video, thank you so much. This video took a lot longer than initially intended, but I'm so glad to finally have it out. Please subscribe so you don't miss my future uploads. It would mean the world to me. I'll be covering a lot more Sanrio super soon. Please subscribe and make sure to share this video with someone who might like some magical content. My LLS fundraiser will go for a month, so I really hope we reach the goal. Thank you to Cinnabon Autumn and Shizano Aokaze for being Safi's friends on Patreon. That's the tier where you can get a shout out. Make sure to follow me on Instagram as well, I am very active there. And lastly, troop on Hopelets, stay adorkable.